A gaunt German shepherd, with every rib visible through its dull coat, was found chained to a tree in rural Tennessee. Abandoned by its former owners who had moved away, it was left to die. Animal control officers described it as one of the worst cases of neglect they had ever witnessed. Yet one person refused to give up on this broken spirit when all hope seemed lost. This is a true story of a miraculous transformation that restores faith in the power of compassion, patience, and unconditional love. The call came into the Wilson County Animal Control Agency on a sweltering afternoon. A utility worker checking meters discovered the dog behind an abandoned house, chained to a tree without food, water, or shelter. Officer Miranda Jenkins drove to the rural property down a long gravel road. What she saw would haunt her forever: a male dog, approximately 3 years old, lying motionless on the ground. The heavy chain around its neck had worn away the fur, leaving raw flesh exposed. Its ribs, spine, and hip bones protruded sharply through matted fur. Eyes once bright amber were now sunken and dull. "At first I thought it was dead," Miranda recalled. "But then I saw its chest move slightly. It was breathing, but barely." The dog made no response as she approached. There was no food bowl in sight, only a filthy puddle from recent rain. Neighbors reported that the property's owners had left weeks earlier. "How it survived this long is beyond me," Miranda said, removing the chain. "It was literally skin and bones." At the shelter, the dog weighed less than half its ideal weight. Veterinarian Marcus Chen quickly inserted an 4-line for emergency fluids and electrolytes. "Its body condition is the lowest possible," he noted. "Severe malnutrition, dehydration, anemia, and multiple infections. Its blood values are critical." The staff named it Atlas, after the mythical figure who bore the weight of the world. That night, the overnight supervisor stayed by Atlas's kennel, monitoring the four and warming it with blankets due to its dangerously low body temperature. "We didn't think it would survive the night," Miranda admitted. "But something in its eyes, though dim, showed it wasn't ready to give up." Against medical expectations, Atlas made it through the first night. By morning, it was stable enough for Dr. Chen to conduct a thorough examination, revealing heartworm disease, pressure sores, and severe muscle atrophy. "Recovery, if possible, will take months," he cautioned. "And that's just physical. The psychological trauma from such neglect will be another challenge entirely." The shelter posted Atlas's story on social media. The community responded immediately. Donations poured in for its medical care, and local news outlets covered the story, focusing on the criminal investigation into its former owners. Atlas was fed small, frequent meals to avoid refeeding syndrome, a dangerous condition that can occur when nutrition is reintroduced too quickly after prolonged starvation. However, the staff grew concerned. Unlike many rescued dogs, Atlas showed no interest in connecting with humans. It wouldn't look at anyone, didn't respond to voices or food offered by hand. "It's as if it had shut down emotionally, given up on people entirely," Miranda explained. Despite round-the-clock care, it remained withdrawn, the light in its eyes fading. Then Rebecca Mason walked into the shelter, seeking a dog no one else wanted. At 34, she had recently divorced and returned to Lebanon, Tennessee, to start anew and build her online therapy practice. "I only planned to volunteer to get out of my own head," she recounted. As Miranda gave her a tour, Rebecca noticed most people gravitated toward the puppies or friendly adult dogs. But she was drawn to the medical ward, where Atlas lay curled in the corner of its kennel, facing the wall. "What's its story?" she asked. Miranda explained Atlas's condition. "It's improving physically, but emotionally, we worry it may never trust humans again." As a therapist specializing in PTSD, Rebecca recognized the signs of severe psychological shutdown. "Can I sit with it?" she asked. Miranda agreed, bringing her a chair. Rebecca sat quietly, occasionally speaking softly while reading a book. Atlas didn't look at her, but its ears twitched slightly at her voice. Rebecca returned the next day, and the day after, leaving the staff both touched and puzzled by her persistence with a dog that showed no response. "It doesn't look at me, but its ears tell me it's hearing my voice," she said. Healing sometimes starts with small connections. On her 5th visit, she asked to enter the kennel. The staff agreed, with Miranda standing by. Rebecca sat on the floor near the door, never forcing interaction, just reading aloud. Atlas stayed in its corner but subtly shifted to keep her in its peripheral vision, the first sign of change. "I want to foster it," Rebecca declared after her 10th visit. "I know it's not fully recovered, but a stable environment might help it emotionally." Dr. Chen expressed concerns about its low weight, the need for multiple small meals, heartworm medication, and close monitoring. "I work from home," Rebecca replied. "I can provide that care and understand trauma recovery." After discussion, the shelter agreed to let her foster Atlas with intensive support, weekly vet visits, regular check-ins from Miranda, detailed feeding and medication schedules, and supplies from the Emergency Medical Fund. Here is the translation of the provided text into standard, grammatically correct English. The day Atlas arrived at Rebecca's home, no one was certain if it would help the broken dog. She had prepared a quiet spare bedroom with minimal stimulation and maximum comfort. "I don't expect you to trust me right away," she whispered, placing its medication and water nearby. "But I'll be here every day to prove that not all humans will hurt you. We'll heal together." That promise turned out to be prophetic, and the journey with Atlas transformed Rebecca's life in ways she never anticipated. Rebecca applied trauma therapy techniques. The bedroom became Atlas's safe space. She maintained a consistent routine, entering at the same time each day, speaking before appearing, and working on the floor. "It needs safety and predictability," she explained to Miranda. Atlas's physical condition improved quickly. 6 small meals a day increased its weight, sores healed, fur grew healthy, and heartworm treatment progressed well. But emotional progress was slow. The first time it ate near her, the day it didn't retreat when she entered, the morning it watched her while pretending to sleep. "It's testing if I'm safe," she told Dr. Chen. The breakthrough came during a storm. Thunder woke Rebecca, and she found Atlas trembling at the door. "Are you scared?" she asked, kneeling. They stood still, then it slowly approached, its breath grazing her hand. She stayed calm as it sniffed her fingers, then raised her hand. Atlas leaned forward, brushing her palm briefly before stepping back, a moment that changed everything. The next morning, it ate closer to her, ears turning toward her voice. "This is the start of trust," she told Miranda. Atlas began sleeping midway between its corner and her spot, watching her with curiosity instead of fear, even staying in the living room while she worked. By fall, Atlas gained weight, its coat grew glossy, and it could handle short walks. When she first offered a leash, it backed away, but she patiently let it explore. Eventually, they walked together. Rebecca documented each milestone, not just for the shelter but for herself. Healing Atlas was healing her too. When unexpected cold hit and her heating system failed, the technician said, "Parts are backordered. It could take weeks." Worried about Atlas's vulnerability to cold, she decided to relocate temporarily but feared a new environment might set it back. Her neighbor, Garrett Davidson, a 72-year-old retired veterinarian, offered his heated sunroom. "It's self-contained with its own entrance," he said. "You'll have privacy, and Atlas won't need to interact with me if it's not ready." Rebecca worried Atlas would fear the new space but brought its familiar bed, blankets, and bowls. Upon arrival, it tensed, ears flattened. "It's just temporary," she reassured. That first night, it retreated to a corner, refusing food and eyeing her warily, like its early days. The real test came when she stepped out briefly and heard a crash and yelp. Atlas limped beside a fallen plant stand. It had tried reaching the window to see her and knocked it over. "Are you okay?" she exclaimed, moving toward it. In pain and panic, Atlas growled for the first time. Rebecca froze, recognizing the critical moment. She sat down at a distance. "It's okay to be scared," she said softly. "I won't come closer. You're safe." They faced off. It growled, she stayed still. The growls turned to whimpers, pain evident, but it wrestled between fear and need. "What happened was scary," she said, as if to a patient. You're hurt and unsure if you can trust me. That's a fair fear from your past. I'll stay here and let you choose. She remained still, hands open. After a while, Atlas limped toward her, lying down nearby, not touching, but close enough for her to feel its warmth. Thank you for trusting me, she whispered, tears falling. The leg injury healed quickly, but the psychological breakthrough transformed everything. Atlas began seeking interaction, lying where it could see her, then resting its head on her lap as she worked. Rebecca stayed calm despite her excitement. Later, it let her stroke its head and shoulders, though it shied from back touches. Its body language has completely changed, Miranda noted. Tail higher, ears forward, curious instead of vigilant. It neared a healthy weight, its coat thick and glossy, neck scars fading, eyes bright with intelligence and warmth. As the weather grew colder, Davidson invited Rebecca and Atlas for Christmas dinner. I've enjoyed watching your progress, he said. She worried about Atlas's stress but agreed since it knew him from brief encounters. Rebecca trained Atlas with positive reinforcement, using a clicker. It learned fast, impressing Davidson with its intelligence. German shepherds are born to work, he said. Tasks give them purpose. One foggy evening, Atlas froze, ears perked. She heard a faint mew from beyond the fence. It led her to an abandoned kitten shivering in the cold. Rebecca picked it up, and Atlas gently nudged it, looking at her as if saying, "Help it!" The once abandoned dog now rescued another, bringing tears to her eyes. Rebecca warmed the kitten, naming it Ember, with Atlas nearby, keeping watch. It still has empathy despite the abuse it endured, Mr. Davidson remarked. At Christmas, Atlas slept beside her bed for the first time, with Ember in a box nearby. The next morning, it sat by her side, pressing its head into her hand, their ritual. Dr. Chen called. Atlas tested negative for heartworms and was fully healthy. A miracle, he said. Dinner with Mr. Davidson turned into a celebration, and Atlas accepted food from his hand, expanding its circle of trust. After dinner, Mr. Davidson suggested, Atlas could become a therapy dog. It's sensitive to vulnerability. The idea resonated with Rebecca. Atlas helping others heal would complete its circle. Once the heating system was fixed, they returned home. Atlas confidently explored the house that once overwhelmed it. I can't believe this is the same dog, Miranda said during her final check. The shelter transferred ownership to Rebecca, though they had belonged to each other long before. Spring arrived, and they began therapy dog training. Atlas learned quickly, understanding emotions and comforting Rebecca's clients, especially those with PTSD. It knows when I need connection, one said. A year after being found, the shelter held an event. The Atlas Effect. Celebrating its impact, an expanded medical ward, dozens of dogs adopted, and a new animal cruelty investigation unit established. Atlas showed that even the most broken spirits can heal, Miranda said. Rebecca stood at the back, Atlas by her side, Mr. Davidson with Ember on his shoulder. I came to volunteer to escape my divorce, Rebecca said when asked to speak. But Atlas taught me healing comes unexpectedly. We saved each other. A young couple approached her. Did you ever doubt you could help it? Many times, she replied. But I focused on small victories. Every step matters. They headed to the adoption area, another ripple beginning. That evening, walking in the sunset glow, Rebecca told Atlas, the miracle wasn't that you survived, but that you chose to trust again after everything. That's the greatest lesson you teach. It pressed its head into her hand, their language of trust. From skin and bones with no faith in humanity, Atlas became a healer, proving the deepest wounds can mend and the greatest miracles come from small, daily acts of courage and compassion.